I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly.
In a recent interview with CBS, Elon Musk, President Donald Trump's homeboy, slapped Trump's big, beautiful bill. You just heard it. Now, CBS has only released a small portion of the interview, which will be released in full this coming weekend. But for now, we have a short clip. And in that short clip, well, I'm just gonna say it packs a little bit of a punch. Let's take a look.
Which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
Now, what Elon Musk is saying is true. The big, beautiful bill, as it stands, and it was just passed by the House, absolutely increases our federal debt, our unruly current $36 trillion debt that last year cost $1 trillion to service. That's a big problem. The only issue is with someone like Elon Musk, as we know from his behavior during the first months of the Trump administration, his second term, he's laser focused on cutting things like Social Security. He calls it a Ponzi scheme. So while I agree with Elon Musk in that the big, beautiful bill increases our federal debt, I disagree with what his priorities are. His priorities were not to raise taxes on the ultra rich. Of course not. He himself is the richest man in the world. His solution was to just gut government programs. Now, there were some cuts that I didn't have a problem with. I know a lot of people got up in arms about some of the USAID programs. And honestly, some of those programs are good and I didn't want to see them cut. But there was a lot of waste in that program. So that was what he started with. I kept an open mind, but it all went downhill from there. But nonetheless, House Speaker Mike Johnson is now attempting to spin Elon Musk's comments as if we're all idiots. He wrote on X, the House made sure to build on DOGE's success within the one big beautiful bill. Stephen Miller has made an important point. That's when I stopped reading the comment, honestly. Okay. Stephen Miller has made an important point about the two efforts. DOGE found savings in discretionary spending, such as funding agencies. I know, we all know about that. While our one big beautiful bill secured over $1.6 trillion in savings in mandatory spending, such as Medicaid. So there you have House Speaker Mike Johnson admitting, no, we totally did cut funding, to that really unimportant program called Medicaid. The government-run, state-run healthcare program for people living in poverty who might, want to see a doctor. Congratulations, Mike Johnson, you're a piece of crap. But anyway, he conveniently left out this important information in his X post. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates the bill would add $3 trillion to the debt, including interest over the next decade. By the way, that's one of the more conservative estimates. The cuts done by DOGE barely even scratch the surface of that number, by the way. DOGE says it has saved the government $175 billion from a combination of asset sales, contract lease and grant cancellations, workforce reductions, and other moves made since Trump's January 20th inauguration. Now, President Donald Trump was asked about Elon Musk's comments today. Let's see how he responded.
Yeah. Mr. President, Elon Musk in a television interview criticized the one big, beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the DOGE efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting, we need to get a lot of support. And we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was, we have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase. If that doesn't get approved, this country is going to have a 65% increase in taxes. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill. But the beautiful is because of all of the things we have.
So in other words, no direct response to Elon Musk accusing Donald Trump and the Republican Party of increasing the federal debt to the tune of $3 trillion. Okay. I mean, it's a difficult thing to answer to, so I understand. But Elon Musk kind of punched you in the mouth. Do you have anything to say about that? Now, what's going to happen moving forward? Because the big, beautiful bill may have passed in the House, but it still needs to pass in the Senate. So there are 3 Republicans who have stated outright that they oppose the bill in its current form. For anyone who's getting excited about that, don't, because Republicans tend to fall in line with enough bullying from Donald Trump, with the exception of Thomas Massie in the House. Massie is the only principled Republican who is not willing to cave to pressure from anyone, including the president of the United States. And that's why he's beloved by his constituents. But I do want to kind of show you the senators who are really up in arms about this spending bill. And in order of appearance, you have Senators Ron Johnson, Rand Paul, and Rick Scott, who defrauded our Medicare system. But nonetheless, let's watch.
I couldn't care less what these are saying. I'm concerned about my children, my grandchildren, and the fact that we are stealing from them. We are stealing from our children and grandchildren. $37 trillion in debt, and we're going to add to it as Republicans? That is unacceptable. And that's why there's no way I'm going to vote for this bill in its current form.
I think the cuts currently in the bill are wimpy and anemic, but I still would support the bill, even with wimpy and anemic cuts, if they weren't going to explode the debt. The problem is the math doesn't add up. They're going to explode the debt by, the House says $4 trillion. The Senate's actually been talking about exploding the debt $5 trillion. But I can't vote to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. There's got to be someone left in Washington who thinks debt is wrong and deficits are wrong and wants to go in the other direction.
Would you say without any changes at its current composition, would you vote no?
Oh, absolutely, I'd vote no. This bill doesn't have it. If they brought it to the floor right now, there's not a chance it'll get the 51 votes it needs. So look, we all know we have to balance the budget. Look, we know that it's getting harder to sell our treasuries.
We're not going to balance the budget. And look, I don't blame Rick Scott for being concerned here. I mean, how is he going to defraud the social safety net program when there are such deep cuts? He might get caught and he might face consequences the next time he does it. Anyway, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Josh Hawley have all expressed some concern that the bill would change the Medicaid system. Hawley also wants changes to the child tax credit. So the big, beautiful bill would increase the child tax credit to $2,500 per child instead of $2,000 per child. But Hawley wants it even higher. He's pushing for a $5,000 per child tax credit. And I mean, look, if you want to encourage people in this country to have children, the best way to do it is to create a better economic situation in which having kids isn't out of the question. So it really depends on what your priorities are. So I agree with Hawley. I think that even as someone who doesn't have kids, who has no intention of having children, I want to support Americans. I want to support families. So my priorities would be similar to Hawley's in that I would want to give parents a break in this bill. But in order to do that, well, you need to raise taxes on a certain group of people who have been able to essentially get away with paying close to nothing, compared to what working class Americans pay percentage-wise of their income toward taxes. Now, Senator Katie Britt is also pushing for a higher child tax credit. And finally, a number of senators don't like the big, beautiful bill because it would nuke tax credits for wind, solar, and geothermal energy projects, which is surprising because usually Republicans aren't the ones who are like vociferously supporting those types of programs. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune has argued that the credits should be phased out more gradually, stating if we don't do that, then we're no better than Joe Biden when he canceled the XL pipeline. We've got to figure out a way to strike that balance. I suspect that Senator Thune has some of these renewable energy projects going down over in his state. Just my guess. But nonetheless, you have a group of Republicans who are making a big stink about the big, beautiful bill, alleging they're not going to vote in favor of it. As soon as Trump shows up to the Senate, gives a few of them a nice spanking, I'm sure they're going to go ahead and cave and do whatever the president wants. But that's what they're saying now. Do you give them credit for it? What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section. I'm really curious to hear what you all have to say.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.